Hi Taurus, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I am going to be doing your April 16th to the 30th, 2021 reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin the reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as you enter into this safe and loving space. All right, let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Taurus, April 16th to the 30th, 2021, Taurus. April 16th to the 30th, 2021, Taurus. April 16th to the 30th, 2021, Taurus. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Ooh. Okay, hold on. And, ooh, 3 bonus cards. Fantastic. Can you see okay? Okay, brilliant. All right, and we're going to move these over just a bit so you can see a bit better. And now we're going to go to the Chakra Energy. Now this is going to be the place where we feel a little bit vulnerable during this time. So let's look at this. Taurus, April 16th to the 30th, 2021, Taurus. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. And then this is the energy that we need to be mindful of during this time. This is going to be where people can kind of manipulate and how people will be able to manipulate us the best. So let's see. What energy does Taurus need to be mindful of? April 16th to the 30th, 2021, Taurus. What energy does Taurus need to be mindful of? April 16th to the 30th, 2021, Taurus. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Fantastic. Excuse me. Now the left-hand side is our inner self. The middle is our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. Of course, we have this very intense bonus line right here. So we have the 5 of Swords, the 5 of Wands, okay, the 6 of Cups, and the 8 of Swords. Wow, our inner selves. Okay. Wow. We have the 10 of Swords. We have the 5 of Pentacles, the repeat Now we have the repeat of the number 5 3 times. So divinity is really showing us that we're moving towards freedom. We have the 5 of Cups. We have all the 5s showing. So there's a huge sense of freedom coming forward, okay, with the 5 of Cups. And then we have the Page of Swords. This is air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. If we're born on the cusp with Gemini, this part of our personality will be coming out a lot. And actually, we're going to be able to learn a lot, to be kind of more go with the flow, kind of see what happens, ask questions, kind of, we're going to find ourselves jumping from one thing to another. And this can get our Taurian side really, really annoyed. It's kind of like, no, stick to one thing, get it finished. But there's going to be this great sense of understanding and like discovery. And that's really what this time is about. Yeah, we have the Hermit. So the public arena is crowned with Virgo energy. That's a time frame of August 23rd to September 22nd. We have the Star, Aquarius energy. We have the 8 of Pentacles, our hard work paying off. And then we have Strength, which is Leo energy. And did I say the time frame? That's Aquarius, right? Aquarius is a time frame of January 20th to February 18th. Leo is a time frame of July 23rd to August 22nd. Our bonus line, 10 of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, and 9 of Swords. Okay, this makes total sense. Okay, so what's happening here so the bonus line kind of looks over and summarizes all of this, like looks over, not summarizes, but gives us the real energy of what's going on when Spirit has the bonus line come out. So we're moving towards the 10 of Pentacles, which is wealth and prosperity that lasts for generations. It's also ancient wisdom coming forward, a way of connecting. The Wheel of Fortune is we're entering into a new season and we're afraid. The 9 of Swords is fear. It's our nightmares, it's our fears, it's our doubts, it's our sense of, can I do this? Can I move forward this way? Do I know what it is that I want? Do I know where it is that I'm headed? And during this time, we have a lot of self-doubt. And that's going to be something that really needs to be acknowledged during this time. Because if we don't acknowledge the doubt that we have, the fear that we have, the nostalgia that we have, we're going to do ourselves a disservice because we're going to think, oh, we'll just get on with it. And it's like, okay, fair. Keep on moving forward. That's a good idea. But if we don't say, I've been hurt and I've been overwhelmed and life has been intense and I'm scarred. I need to heal. But if we just keep on pushing ourselves forward, what the world is going to do and what divinity is going to do is divinity is going to make us stop and make us look at ourselves. And either it's going to be, in a way there, it's like a little tap on the shoulder, or it's going to be something more intense. Now, our our chakra message is universal light. And this is the soul star chakra located 6 inches above our crown. So with the energy coming from divinity, with the energy inspiring us, we're going to be a little bit more sensitive. So again, the chakra energy is like where we need to pay more care. And it's our connection to divinity because we're going to find that that's our greatest strength. I know me personally, without having a spiritual connection, I feel like I'm lost. And so here it's really that same feeling where if I don't have this light of divinity shining, if we don't have this light of divinity shining around us, within us, being a part of us, it feels like the lights just dim in our world. Now, for me personally, I like listening to the Rosary. I find it very, very helpful. Listen to whatever prayers that you like. Listen to whatever, kind of spiritual understanding connects you, because that's going to be so important during this time. It doesn't mean that we have to sit in meditation upon, any sort of prayer whatsoever, but we need it to balance us, to ground us. This is also going to be a fantastic time for meditation. We're going to find that we shine brighter after it. We feel more ourselves after it. And that's going to be really important to us. So here, it's going to be that divine connection. That divine connection is going to be what really helps to bring us forward, really helps us to have that light shine, to guide us, to embrace us. Because if not, the anxiety, the fear, the doubt, the fact that we have all the 5s here, and it's interesting because we're represented by the Hierophant in the major arcana. So we're a 5. So 5 energy, that sense of change, that sense of moving forward, it's something that we're kind of accustomed to. But to have it come forward so intensely during this time, it still hits us hard. And even if we're able to traverse it more easily than any of the other signs in the zodiac, that's something to be said, and that's something to be proud of and to be acknowledged here. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't take its toll. Now we have frailty, which is temperance, which is Sagittarius energy that we need to be mindful of during this time. It doesn't say be mindful of Sagittarius, but necessarily, but for some it might. It's being mindful of this sense of, it's almost being offered too much. It's a sense of really wanting to connect with a person, but it always coming at a price. Really wanting to be inspired, but it's always right out of reach. And during this time, if you find people that say, oh, well, if you just do this, or if you just, do that, or if you give this amount of money to me, things are going to get better. I'll send you enlightenment. Don't fall for those schemes. I mean, really seriously, just don't, because it's a personal journey. And what can bring enlightenment for some may not bring enlightenment for another. So here with the Sagittarius energy, with the temperance energy, it's like somebody who's going to take our searching for balance and it's going to kind of turn it on its head. So just being mindful of this. And this is with anybody that we're listening to, online or on the radio or, on television. It's just being very mindful. Self-help books. I mean, it might sound like a very funny thing for me to be warning about, but the Buddha said, question everything, even me. And that is something to live by. Ask all these questions. That's why that Gemini energy, okay, is coming up. It's like, ask all these questions, flips around, like look at one thing, take the nectar, like be like a bee. Take the nectar from one flower and take the nectar from the other and bring it all together to make the honey that will sustain you. And it's something like, it's very much that power here that we're embracing. So there's beauty within balance, but understanding that balance first has to be a personal understanding, and then it moves us forward. So this is a sense of too good to be true, type of energy. We then move here to the Five of Swords. We're crowned in the inner self with the Five of Swords. This is facing something that we don't want to face. It's like, oh my goodness, I faced this before. I've had to deal with this before. Why is this happening now? It can be at work, it can be at home, it can be, everywhere in between, where we just feel like we're faced with challenge after challenge. And it's like, why am I being tested? Here's the thing. What is that saying? I think it was by Mother Teresa, where God doesn't give us anything we cannot handle. I just wish he didn't trust me so much. And that's going to be the sense of during this time, is we're tested because we're moving forward in a very profound way. We might not understand that, we might not see it right away, but it is here, and it is powerful, and it is clear. And what's happening is we're being put in situations that once we would have run away from. But now we need to call upon the power of ourselves. Or at least, it might be that we walk away. So it's at least saying, this is my power, this is what I desire, this is where I need to be, this is who I am. And holding true to ourselves. The Five of Swords brings us to a place of strength, brings us to a place of understanding. And it brings us challenges. Yes, it tests us in a way that we don't like being tested. It's going to be in a way that we feel vulnerable, that we feel insecure, that we're sensitive about. And it's like, okay, I see it. But I'm stronger than what even I imagined. And it leads us then to the Five of Wands. Now, the Five of Wands is chaos, sometimes just for the sake of chaos. It can be internally doubting ourselves, fearing ourselves, thinking, I can't do this, I can't move forward this way, I don't know where it is that I want to be. It can be external chaos, fights that just happen over the silliest things. And you're sitting there and you're like, I don't even know how we started fighting about this. But it's kind of like, did you put away the milk? And then all of a sudden, it's a huge fight. Or did you print up that paper? And all of a sudden, it's a huge fight. It can be at work, it can be at home. So we just have to be mindful of this chaotic energy. And this chaotic energy is here because this is a time of testing. This is a time of, at times, being pushed to our limits. And again, that isn't what we want to hear. We want to hear smooth sailing and happiness and joy. So this comes in, and all of a sudden, which is a very normal reaction, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to get really nostalgic. I'm going to think about times that were better. I'm going to, or think about the times where people said, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't move forward this way, you can't have this happiness. And all of a sudden, that starts to have real potency. It's either that the best times are behind me, which is just sad to think and sad to say to ourselves, or it's that they were right, and I don't get to have the happiness that everybody else has. And we live in a very dangerous world, because we live in a very edited world. we as human beings, we're not stupid. We don't post on our social media things that make us look bad, right? We post only the best, only the edited. I remember one time I was trying to take a picture with my nephew, and I had spelt his name and I spelt my niece's name, which I was going to send to my sister-in-law. And I just wanted it to be perfect. And he kept on playing with the blocks, and it took so much longer than it should have. But I had gotten it in my head that I needed this. And I was so frustrated by the end, and it was so not worth it. But it was a beautiful, beautiful picture. But it didn't show any of the frustration in between. And so here, that's what we're being warned against during this time. We're looking at things, and because we have this chaos come forward, all right, and it's with our minds, okay, so it messes with our heads, it messes with our passion. The way that we're moving forward can have us doubting, am I doing the right thing at work? Am I not doing the right thing? Is this creative endeavor something I should be putting my time into, or is it something I should be giving up on? And then all of a sudden, we start looking at everybody else, and they're doing such a good job, or at least it appears that they are. And we think, failure, just kind of like, end it now. It's not going to get any better. We get very melodramatic on ourselves. And of course, I'm being very facetious here. Don't harm at all. So here, there is a sense of, do I give up? Or do I look at the past and say, wow, I peaked? Like, I remember this one teacher saying, when I was 18, she's like, it's never going to get anything any better than this. And I thought, oh my gosh, if this is the best my life ever is, and everything is downhill, that's so sad. It's like, no, it's not downhill. There's beauty and there's power here, but it's not edited. It's not edited, it's raw and it's real. And we can retreat into the past, but the past is always pain because it can never be recreated. And it's always unobtainable. And so here, we're going to have this be our instant coping mechanism. It's like, this is going to be the exact place that we go to, whether it's for the good things or whether it's to reiterate, what our father said or what our mother said or our caregiver or whomever told us, you can't do it. And then we start to say, well, you know what, they were right. It's like, no, they weren't. And it leads us then to the Eight of Swords because we get trapped in our own mind. So this is a very powerful warning. It's like, if we can step back and say, because we start off with traps of the mind. We are crowned with it. We're rooted with it. And the Eight of Swords can ruin lives. And it does ruin lives. Okay? It really does ruin lives. It's being trapped. It's being overwhelmed. It's having a cage. And it's saying, I'm stuck here forever. And I'll never be able to escape. The Eight of Swords is doubts and it's fears and it's anger and it's upsets and it's upheaval and it's thinking that I'll never be able to move forward. And the Eight of Swords holds us. And if we don't say, I can't grow like this, I can't be like this, I don't want this, it'll be where we are forever. And so here during this time, as we're looking at things, all of a sudden our mind makes this trap. And it's like, if I can't have exactly what I had envisioned, it's all going to be over. It's like, no, it's not. Because actually our hearts are telling us it's the darkness before the dawn. This time that we're seeing within our mind and that we're looking at and we're dealing with, it's the darkness before the dawn. The Ten of Swords is the darkness before the dawn. So we can have this trap come in, right, with the Eight of Swords and the sense of, I can't move forward, I can't get to where I want to be, I can't have the life that I want. And then there's a sense of needing to step back and saying, you're right, I might not be able to have the life that I envisioned when I was 15 years old or when I was 20 or when, 5 minutes ago. It's different. It doesn't mean that it's bad. I'm not going to let myself get in my own head and psych me out and ruin things for me. Because as human beings, we can do that. We can do that so easily. One time I was meditating and I was so anxious. This was just a few weeks ago. And I was so anxious and I was so upset and I was so overwhelmed. And Divinity said to me, all you have is now. You worry about the future, but all you have is now. And whatever the future is what it is. But you've wasted your now over something you cannot control. Yeah, pretty much. Kept on just saying all you have is now. And so here, it's putting ourselves in a cage where the future is unobtainable. It's always a delusion because life has twists and turns and ways of progressing that we never imagined and we could never plan for. Even if we could imagine it, we'd be like, oh no, that's so silly. That'll never happen. And then it's like, oh my gosh. So here, we need to start embracing the now. Where we are, what we want. not the past, not the future, but the present. And stop psyching ourselves out. The Ten of Swords, again, is this sense of, I'm not the same person that I was. Because in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it's the person laying down on the ground with 10 swords stabbed into them. It's like death. It's like the Minor Arcana death card. Okay, so what does that mean? Does it mean ending? Does it mean despair? Does it mean heartbreak? Does it mean give up now? No, it doesn't. It means that I'm not the person I was. That all the knowledge, all the wisdom, all the learning I have taken in has made me different. And there's a resurrection that comes. There is a resurrection that comes forward. And there is a sense of enlightenment. There is a sense of knowledge. There is a sense of gravitas, okay, behind our eyes. And when you look into a person's eyes who's been through life, there's a difference. There's not that naivety. There's a difference. There's a force. There's a power. And that's what we're embracing here. And we're going to see ourselves rise. But this time, we have 10 swords. And we might think, what the heck is that important for? Well, swords are a sign of nobility. Swords also take great skill and effort to be able to use well. Swords were only used by nobility in the Middle Ages. Okay, you couldn't hold a sword. You couldn't use a sword. And also, I believe in the world where swords were only used by nobility. If you were a peasant, if you had a sword, you would be killed. Period. End of discussion. So here, there is a sense of a wealth of knowledge that makes us into nobles. It doesn't mean that it makes our blood, bluer. It means that it makes us powerful. It's kind of like how the people who were most fit to rule were never born as kings. So here, there is this sense of power that moves us forward. And we're embracing it within our hearts. And it moves us then to the Five of Pentacles. And the Five of Pentacles calls us out hard. So the Five of Pentacles is like being on this iceberg, waiting to drown. And then it's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not giving up. I'm not stopping. I'm fighting. The Five of Pentacles is the pauper's mentality. Now, we could have had the pauper's mentality our whole entire lives. We might have been raised with caregivers who always fought about money. We might have been taught that lack is what we had. And it's what we've always had. It could have been our line. It could have been all that we were worth. Whatever lies people like to fill children's heads with. The Five of Pentacles is understanding that there is more here than I realized. And there is a way forward that is profound and it is brilliant. And it moves me towards wealth. Of money, of what I value as much as money, it moves me towards my goals, which can be walking through hell at times. But to get to where I need to be, where I long to be, where I want to be. And it's not giving up. It's not giving in. You're a spitfire during this time, Taurus. Embrace it. Embrace that stubborn bullheadedness, because there's a power here that moves us forward more profoundly, more extraordinarily than we had imagined. And it brings us to the Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups is change your mind and change your life. Which sounds so easy. It's like almost flippant. But it's super hard. The Five of Cups, when we are looking at things, and in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it is the person looking at the cups that are spilt and not seeing the cups that stand. And here we have the cups that are spilt. And we have the cups that stand almost supporting it all. And so when we're looking at things, we as human beings just naturally, we tend to go towards the negative. Why? Because it's how our brains are programmed. It kept our ancestors alive. Like, don't go that way. You can fall off a cliff, or don't eat those berries. You'll die painfully. We have to remember those things. Don't trust that guy. He stabbed your neighbor. We had to remember these things. It was very important. Still, these things are important, but our world is very different. So when we remember the negative things, and so much of the negativity that we face in this world is abstraction. It's not the hunter-gatherer existence that our ancestors grew up in. And so here, when we're dealing with these anxieties, we don't know exactly how to. Our mind makes them worse. They're not something we can fight. We can't, arm ourselves against the foe. it's obstruction, it's words online, it's, you know, it's worrying about what another person might think and the power that that person has over us, which, I mean, I guess we always had to do, but it's making it worse in our heads. And during this time, we have to be very mindful that we'll make it worse in our heads, because we'll think about it, we'll try to make it right, we'll try to redo things, and it'll always just feel like I'm not getting to where I need to be. But if we look at the love that we have around us, the Two of Cups that stand, which, you know, the Two of Cups in the Minor Arcana is unity and love and compassion and brilliance and coming together. And even if that's only with divinity, that's enough. If we have that divine connection and we embrace that divine connection, instead of doing what our world does and think, you know, what the heck is that? You know, who needs it? We need it. We're spiritual beings. We need that connection to more. And so here we start to open up to this idea of connectivity, of empowerment, of power, of understanding. And we start to, instead of looking at our faults and our fears and our doubts and the things that it feels like we can't change, we start to say, okay, it's time to move forward. It's time to redefine. And it moves us to the Page of Swords. It moves us to being a student of being a warrior, to being a student of being the type of person who says, well, this needs to get done, and I'm going to be here to do it. This needs to move forward, and I'm going to be moving it forward. You know, this, we need to go after this. I'm going to go after it. It empowers us. It emboldens us. It has us, you know, being students of what we desire. This can also connect us with an air sign energy child. You know, a person who could ask a question. It could even be that, you know, we hear it online, you know, this little kid saying something profound, or, you know, we hear a kid talking to their caregiver, and they say, they ask a question or they say something, and it just hits us. It hits us in a way. And I see this as being more, what Spirit is showing me is it being more of, now it can be with your own child that you are caring for, but it's like, it's something that would be so benign, you know, so like, to anybody else, but at that moment, it's going to be like, oh my gosh. And it can't even be like, all of a sudden our inner child starts to speak to us. And it's like, why didn't you see this? Like, why didn't you look at this? Like, look at this. Look over here. Remember this. And it doesn't do it to pull us into the past, though it can. All right? So we do have to be mindful of that, because we're going to be like, oh, you know, let me fall down that rabbit hole and figure out what exactly was going on. But it's doing it to excel us into the future, to lead us towards prosperity. So here we start to learn. We start to learn how to hone our bodies, to wield the sword, to wield the knowledge, to embrace the power, to open up the door, to go after what it is that we need. And the Hermit moves us in the public arena into being much more kind of hold the cards close to our chest, much more, the Spirit is saying unwilling to share. So I'm just going to say unwilling to share. It's like, I know what I want. I know where I need to be. And I know that there are jackals around me, because there are jackals around us during this time. So I'm going to hold what's dear to me, and I'm going to let it guide me forward. This is a very private time. This is a time where we start kind of searching deeper, seeking out more, having a connection with things, whereas before we would have poo-pooed it, and now it's like, well, no, this is important. It's like, shush, let me embrace this. Let me explore this. Let me understand this. Okay, meditation, intrinsically important during this time. We might not like to do it. We might not want to do it. Also, if you can sit out in the sun, that would be so good. That would be so good, because it just like charges up our batteries. You know, put sunscreen on if you want to. If you don't want to, don't. But there's this sense of being enlightened and needing the light, needing the connection. If you need to buy one of those like not outdoor lights, but those lights that mimic the sun, do so. If you're finding that you need more sun than you can get, like, you know, because you have to be inside because of XYZ. So here, it's really turning inward, and it's really connecting with the inner voice, the inner self, and not thinking, oh, that's silly. It's thinking, why did we lose this? You know, why did we walk away from this? Why are we denying this to ourselves? And it moves us then to the stars. So and that's, oh my gosh, I'm so excited here. I'm so excited for you. So we have the Hermit here looking at the stars, right? And I would assume this is a bobcat, and bobcats are rather solitary beings. So he's looking at the star, and then we have the star come forward. And it's like what we're looking for, what we are desiring, what we're seeking, it starts to come forward. It starts to embrace us. It starts to embolden us. It starts to lead us towards what we desire and what we want and what we need and what we've longed for and what we've hoped for. And all of a sudden, our soul's wishes start coming forward. And we might find that it's so different than what we thought it was going to be. Now, this can be through a person that, starts balancing things for us. Like, again, questions are asked, things are discovered. We kind of push the boundaries a bit. But there's also a sense here of like, well, why? Why? How do I enrich myself on the earthly plane and on the spiritual plane? How do I move myself forward to where I need to be? Why do I need to do this? What do I desire? What's intrinsically important to me? What isn't? What have I done that was not for society in a way of civil service or civic service, but in a way that was like, what did I do because I thought it was expected of me instead of it was important to me and it helped me grow and develop. So we start to see the stars come forward. We start to see ourselves embracing what we desire. We start to see divinity calling upon what is intrinsically important to our development, to who we are. This is a time where we start to get what we need, not necessarily what we want. So you might be crossing our fingers and saying, oh, I'd really like a new car. And yet we get this old jalopy and it's like, oh, that's not what I wanted, but it's what we needed for whatever reason. And we'll find that story out as we go along. Because what divinity is saying here, what spirit is saying, is that I'm building you forward. I'm building you forward towards something more. And this is a profound and sometimes uncomfortable stepping stone, but it's going to get you to a place that you need to be. That you need to be in order to embrace who you want to be. And then it moves us to our hard work paying off. It moves us to what we desire. It moves us to what we want. It moves us to seeing that the hurt, the pain, the disappointment, the long hours, the sacrifices, they weren't for nothing. It moves us towards more. And as we move towards more, we start to embrace more of who we are, more of where we want to be. We start to see, kind of like the old adage, hard work pays off. Well, we are embracing that. It's like, yes, hard work does pay off. Yes, I've sacrificed a lot, but I've done it for really good reasons. And I'm moving towards where I need to be. It's the blood, sweat, and tears meaning something. And it's us embracing that meaning and saying, this is who I need to be. This is what I desire. This is what I want. And we're also looking at what's important to us and what isn't. Where we want to stand and where we don't. And so the Eight of Pentacles is that sense of a job well done. It's a sense of starting to see rewards coming forward. And it leads us to strength. It leads us to this stag, to this place of heart. Another word for stag is heart. And there's power there. It's actually, my surname here. So there's a sense of strength guiding us. There's a sense of determination and focus and power. And it's also a sign of nobility, that stag of the forest. It's kind of like Bambi's dad, right? So there's this power that's guiding us to be more than we expect it to be. And its strength, you would think like it should be a lion. And yes, this represents Leo, and Leos are represented by lions, but we have it here as a stag. And we have it here that strength isn't always the meanest and the biggest thing that you could imagine. There's subtle, gentle strength that means the world. I think of this, and I think of strength a lot lately. And I've been thinking of my great-grandmother, who was astoundingly strong and who I had the privilege of knowing. But when I knew her, she was already in her 90s. And even though she was so strong, she didn't look like what we think strength should be. And that's going to be something during this time. It's not going to look like what strength should be. It's not going to be exactly the way that we envisioned it. But it's going to move us in such a way. It's going to be stronger than we imagined. It's going to be more profound than we realized. And it's going to be beautiful. It's the strength of kindness and compassion. It's the strength of love and understanding. It's strength not of vengeance and cruelty. It's the strength of honor and dignity. And it moves us in a way that opens up our world, that redefines our eyes. And we start to see ourselves differently, and we start to take in the prosperity that is around us and move ourselves towards that prosperity, that wealth, that abundance, that sense of there is more here than I could ever have realized. And it's that ancient wisdom that's coming forward. It's having wealth that lasts for generations. And it's knowing that wealth gets to be a part of our lives, gets to be a part of who we are. And it's not necessarily saying, okay, well, I'm going to make enough money that, people get to inherit. No, it might not be that at all. It's the way we plant seeds inside of people. It's the way we connect and give them something to think about. The way we can offer a smile or offer a kind word. And through our actions of living, we start to change the people around us. Not in that totalitarian way, but in that way of, I'm shining. I'm shining with the light of divinity. I'm shining with this beauty. I recognize the God's head within me, and I recognize the God's head within you. And that is power. That is power that our world has lost. And as we embrace that power, we embrace our understanding, we embrace our wealth, and it can lead to financial success. It really can. Because all of a sudden, there's meaning when there wasn't meaning. There was only consumption. And here, it leads to a changing of seasons. It leads to, I don't have enough hands. There we go. It leads to a turning of the tides. It leads to things moving forward. And we know that there's a new season coming. And it might take an adjustment. We might think, no, I don't want spring to end, or, oh no, I don't want fall to turn into winter. But there is a change here. There's a change that's leading us forward. And it's guiding us to a sense of power, to a sense of reason, to a sense of purpose, to a sense of, I am more than I realized I was. It does lead to wealth. It does lead to a financial, coming together. And the repeat of the number 10 here leads to a completion of a cycle. It's like, this is what I've been working towards. And it's realized. And then the fear comes in. And it's like, oh my gosh, can I do this? And just like with the 8 of Swords, it's like, can I do this? Am I trapped? Am I overwhelmed? And this is the nightmares and the doubts and the fears. And this is the inability to move forward. So this is what we have to kind of fight against during this time. And say, okay, yeah, the fear. What is the old saying? We only change when the fear of where we are surpasses the fear of the unknown. And so we have our nightmares, we have our doubts, we have our fears, we have our cage, we have our trappings. And it's like, all right, I'm not the same person that I was. And I might be scared because I know that there's going to be a long road ahead. I'm not naive. Or I miss that naivety. I miss that wide-eyed, the world is open. But there's a gravitas to me. There's a power to me that I now get to embrace. And with the repeat of the number 9, we nurture the way that the world starts to open. And we can feel within our bones that there's a change coming. And that we need to move towards that change. That's why the setbacks that come, or the 5s that come, they're pushing us towards freedom. And we think, well, that's not the way I want to be free. And divinity is saying, but that's the way you need to be free. And so during this time, it's a complicated dance, but it's an exquisite dance. Once we learn that divinity always leads, and to embrace the power of that grace forward, it moves us then to our spirit guide message for Taurus, April 16th to 30th, 2021. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. It moves us to our wish, which we have right here with the star. It's our greatest wish. It's our soul's wish. It's what we most long for and we most desire. And it's on that precipice of fate. It's like the world can go either way. We can either get our wish and everything's beautiful. We can get our wish and it takes us down a different road. But this is the wish of our hearts. This is the wish of our souls. This is the light that guides and leads us. And it's really saying here, I am moving towards something greater than I had ever realized. And more powerful than I will ever know. And it brings us then to our spirit animal message. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly for Taurus, April 16th to the 30th, 2021. And it's the Bobcat spirit again. Again, the same ears. And life is a mystery. That's one of the things the Hermit lets us know in life. That life is a mystery. That things aren't known. That there's beauty in the secrets. There's beauty in the mysteries, in the quiet. You know, as they say, divinity lies between the words. It's not the words that people say. It's the quiet in between. Life is a mystery. And at times it is a mystery that we can abhor. It is at times a mystery that we absolutely relish and enjoy. But it is a mystery that guides us and leads us and redefines us and challenges us. Our subconscious spirit animal message is the chameleon spirit. Act as if. Act as if we know what we're doing. Act as if we know the way forward. Act as if. It's kind of like fake it till you make it. Subconsciously, it's like, okay, this is the role I have to play. This is the way I have to move. I'm going for it. The subconscious spirit message is peace. Embrace our peace. Embrace our comfort, our coming together, our balance. It's going to be so important. Peace is going to be so important to us. It moves us then to our subconscious chakra message, which is angels and masters. Once again, the soul star chakra. It's angels and divinity protecting us and guiding us. This is a time where it's like, oh wow, I didn't know that could happen. I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know I would be moving forward that way. But I'm trusting because I'm protected. And there is going to be a sense of knowing that we're protected during this time. And it's profound and it's beautiful. And it leads us to our subconscious person message, which is the Lord. This is Aries energy. And this could be the Aries side of us, kind of coming in. And it's not necessarily going to be bad. It isn't. There's a sense of wanting to control. And so that sense of Taurian control and Aryan control kind of come together and think, okay, I really have to grip this hard. But it's going to be the sense of, as a general, because Aries is the general, right? Is the god of war in Greek mythology. As this god of war, I know that I can only plan so much. And then I have to move forward. There's going to be this person that comes in that it can be a father figure, it can be, that thinks, okay, if you just do this, then it'll be right. But we're all so different. I mean, we're not the same. Even though you can say, oh, I'm not so special, other people have same experiences as me. Yes, but the way that they handle them, the way that they learn from them, the way that they develop from them, and the way that they see them, it's all so different. So this person can come in and say, well, just do this. And we have to embrace the Aries within us, this warrior within us, and say, right, but I have to understand that the battle changes. I have to understand the ebb and the flow of the fight, and the fight that I have, and the goals that I have, and the place that I need to be. And it leads us to our subconscious tarot message, which is the Ace of Swords, which is divinity handing us a gift of wisdom, handing us a gift of knowledge, and we take it and we become a student of it. And it's kind of like all of a sudden we can find ourselves simply being a student of life, a student of living, a student of where we want to be and how we want to move forward and what it is that we desire. The Ace of Swords is the wisdom that comes and the beauty that enlightens. And the Ace of Swords is the focus of the breath, the focus of the heart, the focus of and the clarity of the mind. And it's the opening of the doors that we thought would be shut forever. The sword is almost like a key. It brings us our wisdom. It brings us salvation. It also arms us in a way that is intense and powerful and scary. Well then, all right, Taurus. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace ourselves, as we look at what we desire and want within the world and say, it is right and it is powerful for me to be me and to shine with the light that I was created with. Because as the stars guide us, we also remember that we have stardust within our blood. We have stardust within our souls, that we are part of the universe as the universe is part of us. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Taurus.